Stop trying to be normal. Stop trying to be clean. Stop living every day of life like a damn machine. Society's screwed up. It has gone insane. Stop seeing it is for the ones go with it down the drain. It's the measure of sanity to be happy. It's the measure of happiness to be sane. Take it to the edge. The edge of insanity. Take it to the edge. The edge of insanity. Take it to the edge. The edge of insanity. Take it to the edge.
Hey guys, my name is Paul Brumbaugh, and I'm here in downtown San Francisco at Edge Studios, and it's time for the Edge of Insanity. I'm sitting back with none other than the Godfather of comedy here in San Francisco. Give it up for Tony Sparks, everybody.
Yay, me.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. Lately I've been, in fact, on my new Instagram, I've gone with the Godfather logo, a little like Godfather.
I saw that with the tux and everything,
Yeah,
the
with
black
the
and
tux.
white.
Yeah. But the Examiner called me the ambassador, and I think that's kind of cool. I'd really like to.
It is. You're welcoming. You're like a mobile welcoming wagon here.
There
in San
you go.
Francisco.
There you go.
Now I see you brought your handler with
Ah!
you today.
Let me tell you, this is one of the greatest ladies of all time. I've been sick a lot lately, but not only that though, she's the love of my life. This has been my girlfriend. This is my girlfriend, Barbara.
Wow, and you're like the Mr. Intro. That was it. This
Yeah.
is the girl of your life. How are you doing, Barbara?
Doing well.
You did that with a heavy sigh.
Well, I told you I just walked 6 miles before I got
Oh,
here.
that's
so
true. We made you walk through the
I'm
better
winding
parts
up
of San
now.
Francisco.
No,
Yeah.
it's the better part of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole Land's End.
Land's End. From Land's End, headed
to
through Japantown, and
Yeah.
actually was headed to the ferry building. But
that was.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
That's a roundabout trip to get all the way here to downtown San Francisco.
yeah,
no, I'm actually kind of decided to start training again. I do this thing called the Camino de Santiago.
mm-hmm.
And which is?
Well, this will be my fourth venture.
Yes.
Walking from France, the border between France and Spain,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
530 miles in 33 days. And then, so I've done 3 others, different routes. And so this is actually the shortest one I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm starting in Portugal and walking to the Santiago, the destination.
Santiago, Chile.
It's the Camino de Santiago. It's Santiago de Compostela.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the routes start from all over,
That's
Okay,
interesting,
yeah.
and they all kind of convene
and they
into
all end in yes.
that. And so when is that happening for it?
April 6th, I start
April
walking.
6th, yes.
So you're in training right now. This is great training ground as for fitness and walking through these hills of San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's also a great training ground for comedy.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I've had my comedy training at the infamous Brainwash.
Yeah, started at the Brainwash.
Now, I'm gonna play like we've never done this before.
Okay.
When did you get your start in comedy, Tony?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was 16 years old.
You were 16 years
I was
old,
16 years old. Actually, I started writing when I was 14.
right?
So I wrote for 2 years, never performing. 2 years every day until I was 16. And then I met a really wonderful guy. We were in a comedy team for a short time. His name was Ray. So we had a comedy team, Sparks and Ray. One day he had to take care of his mom. And I said, well, I'm going to go to the show tonight. Turned out it was the show we were on. Well, I had to do it without him. And I won first place. It was a competition. And so I said, hey, bro, I'm going to go this alone now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long had you guys been performing before that point?
I'm gonna say somewhere in the realm of 6 months, maybe 8.
So you were just on the grind,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like anything popped up in that first 6 months. But as soon as you were solo, things changed for you.
Yeah. So when I went solo, I would. So this was well before like internet. So you remember telephone books?
I remember telephone.
Okay. So I got the telephone book and looked up everything that said nightclub, right?
Right.
And I went to every single nightclub in my hometown and said, "Hey, look, I'm a comic in town, blah blah blah." And so I performed, and then I called them back in the reverse order, and I said, "Give me some money now."
So you gave them a little taste for free.
Yeah, and I started making money right away.
Now, where was hometown? What was home base?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Really? Okay, Little Rock, Arkansas. And how many clubs or how many nightclubs or how many venues do you think you did that first
I
run?
have no idea, because by the end of it, I had run into these dance groups and these musical groups, and they started taking me along on their gigs. So I started going out to like these little small towns and stuff, and it was really great.
Getting out of Little Rock, working with other people. Were you like emceeing shows and doing your set, or were you doing
Actually, no. I had to MC here because, well, I it just ended up that I had to MC here. Back then, I was just doing my straight act, just boom.
And how many minutes were you doing at that point?
Oh, it would vary. It depended on what they needed to open, and so. But I had written all this material, so
You've been writing for 2 years. You kind of, it almost sounds like the Rodney Dangerfield thing when you had that little break, right? He kept throwing things in his duffel bag.
Yeah, but my act was very different back in the day. Back then, my act was all character voices.
Okay.
And so
it was act outs and characters. And
all character voices, all different silly stuff, and
people from your life or people you know, or
no, just stuff I would make up.
Okay.
And then when I moved here, yeah, I had a hard time with people because I ended up having to host a lot of stuff here. And then I had a hard time with people following me, doing these characters. So I had to let that go completely.
Because hosting's a different gig, isn't it?
Hosting is so different from actually doing stand-up.
Right.
So much so that one of the things that happens to me every single show is that somebody goes, "You were pretty funny. When are you gonna do comedy?"
Right. And you're like, "I just did that."
Exactly.
Right. Well, because we feel like as hosts, we feel, and producers, we feel like we wear many hats, right? We're getting people acclimated on what they're watching, because we're not always in a nightclub. We're not always in a brainwash situation where everything is happening.
And then I have to give it a people. There's nothing compared to, like, for example, let's say what's the guy's name that's in all the movies? Snakes on a Plane dude.
Oh yeah, it's
Samuel L. Jackson. Let's say he's hosting like the Academy Awards or the Oscars or something like that. Well, they've already seen him in movies.
Right. So he's been kind of stereotyped, or
no. So the thing is that they know. Oh, he's an actor. He just happens to be hosting.
Right. Okay.
But they just see me hosting, and they think, oh, he's just a host.
He's just a host. So,
and they're not expecting, as a host, they're not expecting you to be funny.
Right. But there's those other jobs that go along with it. You have to facilitate. You have to be Johnny on the fly, figuring out, hey, somebody didn't show, or someone just bombed. Now I got to change the order.
Exactly.
I got to keep the show going because, man, this energy is really great. I don't want to lose it. Let's keep riding the wave.
Yeah.
That really stunk up. Whoever was just on stage really just died on stage.
So now I got to say something to bring the energy back.
At least to a 0, so that person's not digging themselves out of the hole, right? And so,
well, along the way, I found a lot of tricks. Like I do a room every Tuesday in Fairfax.
Shout that one out. Tuesday. Where is it?
It's Fairfax. It's called Max.
Okay.
19 Broadway. Okay. It's really a great. Oh my God, it's really a great place. So I run the show, and then at the end, well, right towards the end, I have to change the energy for the headliner.
Right.
I have to bring the energy back up.
Yeah, because you want them to be able to at least start off somewhere fair, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes at that point, it's not up to par or it's not enough energy. Maybe you need to kick it a little bit further,
Yeah.
right?
But I will say this. I've gotten a lot of great people on the show.
Right.
And so it really works out. I love that show.
And how long you been doing that one at Max's?
8 months. 8 months.
What do you like about it the most? Is it the venue? Is it the
Okay,
people?
so all of it. The venue is great. It looks very Moulin Rouge. It's red curtains and 1920s like look.
Kind of reminds me of, remember the Rouge?
Exactly.
Really? Okay.
Exactly. And then
Let's talk about more Godfather-ish,
single-
right? It feels like you should be in some
Yeah.
crushed velvet and real Corinthian leather and all
Exactly.
that stuff. Okay.
Lots
Single tables, like.
and
and
yeah,
it's
single
like a
tables to sit
like
down, little round tables.
Lounge.
And like nice big comfy couches and stuff. And then they have a lady who works there that designs the place. Like what are we coming up on? St. Patrick's
St. Patrick's
Day.
Day, right?
And I'm gonna go there and it's gonna be all green and beautiful. She really does Halloween great. Oh my God, spider webs! It was all.
So you have an owner of a bar that actually is doing something,
And
promoting, and
I think this guy owns that whole little. It's a little town,
Oh, really?
and I think the guy owns the whole town because the place, it gets packed. It gets way packed.
And
And-
he owns the pizza parlor.
and he owns
so
the
he
pizza
brings us
parlor down the
pizza,
block.
Commons pizza.
So the
He's
com-
got a little bit of real estate in the town.
Yeah, so the comics not only perform, but they get to eat pizza, get free drinks. It's great for the comics.
Also joining us in on the conversation is a friend of mine, comedian. Give it up for Jen Garcia.
Hey,
How you doing, my dear?
Hi,
You're-
everybody.
You're so quiet over there. It's not even like you to be so quiet.
Hello. Yes, I've heard about that, Mike. I've heard good things. It
so
must be a
wonderful.
great venue.
And the crowd, because it's nothing in the area really, the crowd is just so in love with you. But because we have so many repeat customers, we can't have people back to back.
Right.
And because I do crowd work always, they don't get
They
tired
don't
of it.
complain about you because it's like with me, I'm always doing a new monologue.
Right.
So it's not old material.
Right.
You're like with me, it's always what's in the news this week.
Right.
And so if you're watching me this week, it's probably because it's in the news. And
Exactly.
so if I slide in something old, it's like, oh, wow, he just snuck in that oldie.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but they don't even know. But you're right. No repeat material. That's a big thing. I mean, we have, I think, 400 active comedians in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them on stage time. And even though it's like high school, it really does remind me of high school. Everybody has their own little clique. It seems like they always seem to go to the same pool. Even myself, I'm a producer of a show twice on the peninsula in Redwood City, twice a month. And it seems like I have to still really watch a cooling off period of 3 months
Mm-hmm.
before someone can repeat, and they better have a new set.
Well, ours is shorter. We do usually a month.
A month.
Yeah.
So then your pool is pretty small. So
No,
it's still a lot. How many people you get
well,
off in a week?
I only am supposed to have me plus 3 people.
Okay.
But sometimes I don't have my calendar with me and people ask to get on and I kind of overbook. Like this Tuesday, it's overbooked. I have like 5 people.
But don't we have to sometimes overbook because we don't know who's going to call in?
Yeah,
Or-
sometimes, but
You
Get in
learn-
where you fit in.
exactly.
Yeah.
But you bring up an interesting thing about the whole clique. There are places that I would like to go to and perform, but no one books. They don't. And I've contacted people, but they won't book me.
Wow. In the Bay Area, there's places where you can't get booked.
Name names now.
Yeah, we want names. We want lists.
I don't like
We're gonna call them live right here.
Yeah, really. We'll get them on the studio.
But yeah, there are people that I've asked, can I come? But here's one of the things that's interesting that happens whenever I do a show, even if it's not my show, people come to me after the show and go like, hey, where do you find your comics? You know, like I'm the producer.
Right.
They all come to me as if I'm the producer.
Well, because they think sometimes that host wears that hat too.
Yeah.
It really depends on what kind of show you're doing.
I guess. But I mean, it happens to me every show. I tell you the show that I am not the producer, but I am totally and completely submerged in and involved, and it's also really great. It's an open mic. Is the Ave on Wednesdays. The Ave, it's at 1607 Ocean Avenue, and it's an open mic. It starts kind of late. It's at 8:30.
Okay.
And dude, and
how do we get some time there, man? Tell
all you
us
have
how
to do
to
is just show up.
There you go. Okay.
But here's the thing: like we have actual audience people who come, actual audience, and it's a neighborhood bar. So one thing I've noticed about the mindset of a neighborhood bar is like, oh, I can do that shit. You know, that's, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, so they are extra hard on the comics. They don't boo them or throw stuff, but they are like
They're thinkers.
Yeah,
They're not
really
just drinking and just melding into the woodwork.
Right.
They're there because they're comic fans. And,
exactly.
And they're almost as hard as trying to get another comic to like.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like those rooms. I like a tough nut to crack,
God.
man.
They are definitely
But when
truly.
you do well, they're very.
Oh yeah, they love.
They give
They
you-
really love you when you do well.
Well, look at one of the things that I won't because you have many claims to fame, but one of them is the brainwash. That was your child for 17 years.
18. I think.
18. You got it to 18.
Yeah.
And so that was a very interesting room because you never knew what you were going to get other than it was truly San Francisco.
Yes.
And it was truly Soma.
Yes. Let me tell you something. We would have everybody in there. We had a magician. I guess had to be a magician, and he was chewing glass. Right? He's up there chewing glass, and I heard somebody from the audience say, "Man, my grandmother can do that." You know?
It's like, wow.
That is
I've
hilarious.
seen so many crazy things in the brainwash. I can think of just one thing alone. I can think of 2 different comedians had wore diapers on stage. One of them was Justin Scales when he was working at the restaurant at Julie's across the way.
Okay.
He would take a little break and he was wearing like his trench coat and came over and he was waiting on tables and you would literally give him a spot as soon as he could run over because he only had that little break.
Right.
And he would take off his shirt and he was in a diaper.
Yeah.
And he did this whole set in a diaper and then he had to go back and literally put on his waiter clothes and run back over and wait on
And when he didn't do that, he would close dropping his pants.
Right.
And showing his man vagina.
Okay, so that
Oh my
reminds me
God.
of Ricky Luna.
Yeah,
and
Ricky
Charlie
Luna.
Ballard.
Yeah, so so Ricky Luna is amazing. He's in Los Angeles now.
Right, I keep up with him.
Thank God he's still alive. That guy. So he's this little bitty Mexican cat, and so Charlie Ballard is tall, big, a Native American dude.
Right.
So he's holding Ricky Luna over his shoulder and opening his butt.
And doing like a puppet act.
Yeah, like
his
his
asshole.
Yeah, like his asshole is talking. That was funny. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And do you remember when Black Jesus got completely naked?
Oh my God.
And for weeks and weeks, dudes would show up, go like, "It's Black Jesus performing."
Yeah,
You know?
they're like really cautious and really worried.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. So lots of truly San Francisco acts that came through the brainwash. Some really big names too.
Oh yeah. So come on, Faith on Love.
Yep. I remember that night.
Yeah, Faith on Love.
That was one of the nights you had me host. I think I hosted somewhere about 20 times for you at that brainwash. And I remember that night because you're like, "Hey, can you cover?" I said, "Got you."
Yeah.
And then about, I don't know, an hour into the show, you're like, "I'm coming." Because Faison Love's coming through.
Yeah.
And you introduced Faison. And that's when he did Couples Retreat.
Yeah, and then there was Hannibal Buress came
Yeah.
once, and nobody remembers this because it was still early on. But Paul Mooney came,
Straight from Berkeley, man. That guy was out of Berkeley for a while
Yeah.
there, but yeah,
and
Ali
well, Ali Wong actually started there,
started at the
and
Berkeley.
she mentions that in her
Yeah.
book on page 54 or 55.
He has his name highlighted somewhere. On
Yeah.
page 54. Okay.
Yeah.
So good old Ali Wong, you know, she's 3 Netflix specials in, I think, right at this point.
And then she helped produce a Netflix special for Shang Wang,
Oh, right, which is also another local.
another person who was at the Brainwash. Man, there were like a lot of guys who already, if you look on like Tubi or Amazon or what is the other little station? Anyway, like Paul Conyers.
Yeah. Oh, that's they also do it on what is it called? Is it what is the name of it?
Not Prime.
No, we're thinking of what's the little streaming box?
Roku.
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 The Roku
Yeah.
channel.
Oh, okay. And then, so there's
And Paul Conyers is doing really well.
Paul Conyers doing great. In fact, I want to have him at my Fairfax room. I'm gonna try and get him there.
Well, this could be your calling card. So this is your elevator pitch to get him on there.
No, he's gonna. We met up. We did a show together last Wednesday, so he agreed to do. He agreed to come on and do. I just got to get a date for him.
That's
So.
exciting.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, there's been a lot of comics that have dropped out, and you're wondering where the heck are they and what are they doing? And they were very unique. And there's a lot of cookie cutters out there, folks. I hate to say it. There's a lot of us that are very much the same.
The same. Yeah.
I mean, on face value, I'm your middle-aged white comic, so there's a lot of me. But what I say on stage sets me apart. But then
Yeah.
there's the other people that don't have that.
Yeah.
And there's people that have that, and then they disappear. They just disappear out of nowhere. There's
Well-
so many people like that.
Well, here's the truth about stand up. A lot of people see it and go like, "Oh, I could do that." They have this attitude like we're just up there talking, but there's a lot that goes into making it work and us standing out. You said something very important. It's important that you do stand out from everyone else, and that's why you don't see a lot of people that move forward because they don't stand out. You know, everybody thinks, "Oh, I want to be the funniest guy." No, you need to be the person who stands out.
Right.
Okay?
And you need to be yourself.
Yeah, and you need to embrace how you deliver and the way you deliver. And the only way to do that is to really learn the basics and go beyond. Okay. So it's really tough to maintain, and that's why you see a lot of people quit.
Yeah, there used to be the attrition rate. If you made it past your year, you had a chronic disease. You were gonna die of being a comic.
Well, not necessarily. Here, let me explain this one thing. Here we go. Usually, people do this New Year's resolution thing.
Right. That's where we see the influx here in San
Oh my
Francisco.
God! And they come in. You see all these
In
new
droves.
people. Yes, and then by March,
April, they're done.
they're finished. That shit is crazy.
Every year.
Yeah,
every single year
every
because
year.
somebody told them you would be a great stand-up. You're funny.
And see, that's the thing. When people tell you that, that's because they know. Okay, all right. One of the things we have to learn as stand-up comics is that you have to be funny in just a few seconds where they understand your character, your voice, who you are.
Right.
You understand? Whereas people think, "Oh, I can just get up and talk," and I get a lot of this. "Oh, I'm not a comic. I'm a storyteller." Well, why don't you just tell me you're gonna fail? All right.
Well, okay, so it doesn't matter if you're a setup punch comic or a storyteller. Isn't the same criteria? We still looking for 4 LPMs, laughs per minute.
Yeah.
About every 15 seconds
Yeah,
is
well-
what the industry's looking for.
Well, to make it easier, I always say this: 25 words or less to the laugh. All right. If you haven't gotten a laugh in 2 sentences, then redo that or ditch it or whatever.
I think of the line that Jeff Foxworthy says in I Am Comic. He goes, if you have too much diddly before the boom. So he's like, you got to go diddly, 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 boom. Or diddly, boom, diddly, boom, diddly, boom.
Yes.
You can't have too much diddly before the boom.
That's right.
And so...
That's great. Great explanation.
And that really kind of capsulized what you were thinking.
Well, here's the deal. Like, people, stories are great.
Right.
Stories are fine.
Right.
But if you notice, anyone who's telling a story, they're telling it through the same voice. They're telling the same character all the way through. Mm-hmm. So that way it works. If you're telling a story and it's a lot of diddly, no good. But if you're getting to the boom based on your character, that story works.
Well, that's why, even like you were saying early on, that you were doing a lot of characterizations. That actually works when you're doing storytelling, because it's kind of it's kind of like each one of those characters got a little diddly to them. Yeah.
Well, what I would do is I would just shift into the character and still I didn't realize I was making it. I was interacting with the audience. I didn't realize I was doing this.
You were doing it through osmosis because you were in the room and you were connected to your audience, right? It was only you set out and did it. It happened.
Only recently I figured out that that's how I was doing it. And so, oh my gosh. But I mean, it's still just an extension of what I do now. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what's your modus operandi now? How do you operate now? Are you very much still writing material that's short-lived, or are you doing stuff all over the map? Are you going greatest hits, or you just don't know until you get on stage?
Yeah, I don't plan anything anymore.
You just go on stage and
whatever I got, it's coming.
Do you still come off stage sometimes and go, what did I say between this and that? I know they laugh.
Yes,
I know it's funny.
Know.
What the hell? I wish I would have recorded it. Brumbaugh, did you hear what I said? Yeah. What did I say between this one and that one?
Yeah, so I never remember what I say.
Isn't it your digout sometimes that gets you laughs that you didn't expect?
Yeah. I just making it up. Some nights I'm just going with the flow, but sometimes I get inspired and like I'll make up a lot of great stuff. Like I think I had a night like that this Saturday. This Saturday I was at May's Oyster House.
Okay, up here on Polk, right?
Yeah, great room.
Right.
And
isn't that a hella funny show?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great producers. Usually have their shit together. We can say that.
Oh my God. Anyway, I had so much fun.
What was good about it? I know that, like you were saying, you're writing all the time. Now when I'm hosting, I might have a few bullet points for my monologue. I know where I got to go, but how I get there is just unpredictable. So I'll go up with at least the things I know that are current affairs that hopefully everybody knows about. But then if I'm hosting, I will listen to every comics set. I will go, oh, I like that premise. They kind of bailed on something here. I think I would have done this. And so I'll usually take one or two of their bits and say something about it. Oh, they mentioned going to the movies now, or people wearing masks, and I'll dive and I'll do a little, oh, he was listening. Oh, that's pretty funny. He must have just made that up because of camp and he didn't have that plotted out.
Well, here's the thing with me. I try to tag on the last thing that they said.
Because it's the last thing in their mind, right?
Right. And so, especially if I hear something that a way to go from what the last said, it always lets the audience know that I'm in the moment and draws them back.
Yes.
And so I always do it like that. And then this weekend, not only did I do that, I came up with so much stuff based on their last thing on each one of them.
It's almost like you're playing multi-level chess at that point. You start seeing things on different levels that you wouldn't have saw even if you were an audience member.
Yeah.
You had to be in the zone.
It was great. It was so fun.
That's why hosting is a great opportunity for stand-ups to like acquire that new or working with the crowd more is something that hosts do, I think, better than just.
Somebody once told me, if you can be a good host, you can be a good headliner. Okay, because here we like you said, you have to be in the moment. You have to think on your feet. You have to understand your character because it moves through your character. All right. You make a mistake as a host if you just insert joke. You
have to be fluid.
Yes. And you really have to understand your POV, because if not, the crowd's going to shut you down.
They're going to be more confused than you are, right? You literally have to lead them down a path, and they have to be willing to follow you.
Exactly.
And then when you deviate from that path, because we all do as comedians, because if you could follow every joke and know what every punchline's going to be, we're no longer comedians, we're public speakers at that point.
Well, I got to tell you, I think I am the most terrible host. I'm going to tell you why.
I've heard you say this before, and I disagree. But go ahead.
I know. Well, people usually do, but here's the thing. So you're not supposed to. I tell the audience exactly what I want from them at the very top of the show. And I make sure, I've been mentioning it sometimes because the Brainwash was a very transient audience, right? So I have to mention it all the way through. Like I need for you guys, even if you don't like the person on stage, you've got to applaud. You've got to give them that. All right? Okay? So you're not supposed to say just flat out what you need from the people.
By the way, I have Garcia Singleton in room.
Oh my goodness.
What's happening, baby?
Oh my God, I love that dude. So, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. Better see you.
All right.
So, and feel like grab that chair and get right in that corner for a little bit if you want, or even sit right over next to Jen with that mic, and I'll put you live too.
Jen likes to touch me.
Oh yeah, sure. That's what it is.
Don't get me
Anybody that just plays
canceled.
by the book or follows the rules that's just safe mediocrity.
Say it again, please.
I said, if all you do is play by the rules and play by the book, that's just safe mediocrity.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stands
Oh yeah,
out
and it's
about-
kind of getting tougher now because no matter what. Okay, I got to be honest with you.
I wish you would.
Every place I've ever done, ever since I've done comedy, somebody gets mad about something. You could be telling a joke about Argyle socks, and people be like, I have friends that are Argyle socks. Like, oh man, shut up. It's so sad.
Well, that's good. You're getting people's attention.
But no matter what, oh my God. Oh, no matter what, somebody's going to be upset.
So that brings me, okay, so there was like a transient crowd at Brainwash. I'd never been to Brainwash. I just missed it when it closed. It started. So, but you were saying something about it being like a transient audience. Did you have any hecklers, or do you have like an approach?
Oh my.
Do you have an approach to people dealing with hecklers?
Okay. Go ahead. You want to go ahead?
Tony can control a crowd like nobody's business. Hecklers
with the butter knife. I've seen it with a butter knife. Look at him.
Hecklers don't
bother
Tony.
I gotta get this one.
They know
with
better.
the butter knife.
Okay, here we go.
With
Let's
the butter
do this. Okay, when I mean trans, there were people always in and out because it was a laundromat. So people were doing their laundry, they were getting food coming in and out and everything. The only time I really got nervous was when the cops would come. That would just cops and black people, that makes me nervous. All right, so here we go. All right, for anybody who's a comic, the best way to deal with a heckler, the best way is to go along with the heckler. All right?
Okay.
Everybody know George Wallace.
Yes.
George Wallace used to say, what was he used to say? He said, what's your name? And they would tell him his name. And he make everybody applaud for them, right? And he go, now shut the fuck up. Right? You know what I mean? And that would work. Back in the day when I was really young, I would just have all these heckler lines.
Right.
But now what I do is I try to go along with what they're saying and make them look idiotic.
Sooner or
Even if
later,
they say like you suck, and I go like, yeah, I do suck. All right.
I'm sitting here in a laundromat. It's Thursday night. I
Yeah.
could be do other things. Than
I'm
this.
terrible.
Right.
Yeah. If I was good, you wouldn't be talking to me. All
Right.
right. You know, whatever. But just go with what, and it shuts them down.
Most of the time, the crowd will even get on your side at that point, and you don't have to do anything.
Nowadays, this is so beautiful. Now, people don't know that whole etiquette about shut the hell up and listen to the show.
Right.
Some people just talking. I can get the crowd to go like, hey, listen. I'm like, here's the people talking here. And like, listen, you ruining the show for them. And they'll tell them to shut the fuck up. And they shut the fuck up. I said, see what I tell you. So I usually I utilize that quite a bit.
Because it really depends on even the stance that you take in your comedy. I mean, maybe you have to have some sympathy, and if you eradicate a heckler, and you're looking for sympathy or some sort of down the line, they're not going to believe you. You're selling about it.
Let me tell you, they hate hecklers.
They do.
Yeah, they hate hecklers. There was this guy, he was kind of, and he came in, and the comic is talking. He walks up to the comic, give him money, and I just grabbed him by the shoulder and just walked him away like that. All right, and the crowd was like, you know, the people.
Yeah.
And then the cat on stage was like, he sat by me and just kept looking at me like I was his girlfriend. No,
So,
go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry, but I was going to say, but then there's sometimes where the hecklers are the comedians.
Oh, then fuck them.
Well, I mean,
Straight.
I mean, they have the microphone, they
please.
have their minutes, right?
Yeah, please. But if a comic is in the audience heckling another comic,
No, I meant
Oh.
they're on stage and all of a sudden they're instigating stuff on stage, trying to get a reaction from the crowd.
Oh.
And sometimes it's those wild comics. What really comes to mind sometimes is like Sweet Gale, Sweets.
oh, okay.
She'd just go up there and go crazy, and all of a sudden somebody would say something, and before you knew it, you don't know who the heckler was.
Yeah.
And
The one thing about Sweet Gale is that I felt so sorry for her. She was
You have such a big smile on your face. You're just thinking
because-
about her.
because she would she would always promote the brainwash
Right,
and always promote me.
right.
But sometimes some people you don't want them promoting you. Okay.
Brian King used to say, you know what? Bad publicity is still publicity. I go, no, not with some of these psychos.
No.
You don't want their publicity.
No.
But yeah, so that was one that you didn't necessarily need
I
promoting
didn't need
you.
it, but she was so sweet though. She was really great, and she was more attitude than funny.
Right.
But definitely, though, she gave a great example by having such a beautiful comic attitude.
Right.
I heard one time I read in a book that the heckler is the person who is paying attention, the closest attention to your set. Because they want to get involved in it.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the thing with the audience. I've noticed they all want to be involved. That's one of the reasons why I love doing crowd work.
Right.
Everybody, like everybody wants to get involved. If you go to a crowd, an audience and say, "Hey, why don't you tell me a joke?" What they'll come up with something right away. Like it might be a knock knock or it might be a little punny thing, but everybody has one, and they all want to be involved. But it's great. But a lot of times hecklers think, "Oh, I'm helping you be funny." No, you're helping
Right.
yourself look like an asshole.
And you're fucking up my timing and my set.
Exactly.
And maybe because, especially in the very beginning, we all kind of put blinders on and just get me through this 5 minutes.
Exactly. But have you noticed the arrogance of hecklers? Like they're like, "I'm so funny." But when you put them on the spot, They crumb.
Kimball's East Emory.
Yeah.
Remember Wednesday night? We used to get them.
Yeah. We used to have ass.
And people right in the front row.
I used to be a little afraid of some of them because there was some gangsters over there. You know what I mean? So I used to be a little afraid, but I wouldn't let them know that.
No.
You know.
Show fear and it's over with.
No, we had it set up to where Tony had the lineup set up to where if somebody's talking and he'll go, well, he's just seen Greg. The light side are going out. Here comes the dark side. And they usually shut him down because, I didn't want to get too many hecklers. I wasn't the greatest comedian. But if you said something, I would get you.
Now, what was one of the toughest rooms you ever had to host? It could be the crowd, it could be the area, it could be everything. Because you've been a road comic too. You've gone lots of places.
Early on, the rooms I used to hate were like in Medford and
End zone?
oh, they loved me at the End Zone. The 1 or 2 times I performed there because I was doing the character stuff then, so they loved me there.
So that was early on.
So Medford, Oregon, right?
And that was all the spots in Oregon. It was Eugene and Medford we would do.
Remember when you went to the club in Eugene? It was so rickety. I mean, like the ceiling was falling.
Oh wow, there was this club in where was that?
You're
That
on
was,
this is on my turn.
was
now.
that Eugene or
Yeah,
was that?
it was in Eugene, right?
So
About the
the
deer.
place was like falling apart. There was like water was leaking from the ceiling.
They had buckets under there catching
I
stuff.
was like, finally,
Well,
welcome to my world. Yeah.
And if you ordered like he has a cafe in the front, you ordered a coffee. It wasn't necessary that you weren't necessarily gonna get that coffee. He would run out of shit, and he go like, "Oh, we can't. I can only do one for you or her." You know what I mean? And oh my God, it was
Tony
just
told
awful.
me, he goes, I think I saw a deer in the corner smoking a cigarette, getting ready to
Get
read
ready
a
to go on
poem.
stage and do a poem about Lyme disease.
Oh my God.
It was just terrible like that. And they had a dog that was just running around. He was talking to everybody. What's that? And man,
Yeah, Ace's ears just perked up on that one. That was
I'm
good.
like,
But your baby's
You are not-
chill.
You're
Yeah.
not in San
So
Francisco
there
anymore.
was one. So I was hosting 3 different rooms a week in Redwood City, and one of them was really a dive, and it was pretty bad. So the bar faced the opposite way. It looked away from the stage. It looked towards the TVs, right? Of course, right. And then there was a big
And will
pillar.
they turn the TVs off?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
It's the obstacle course of comedy is what it was.
Yes.
So they had that, and then even if they did turn around in their seat and you got their attention, you could kind of tell their head would bob. You could tell they were laughing because their head would go down, and you would see it from the back. You just kind of see this, and you're like, "Oh, cool! I got one laughing or whatever." But then there was a big pillar in the middle of the way. There was that,
Wow.
and then beyond the pillar, right in front of the stage, what's the worst thing to have in front of a stage? A pool table.
Oh, shit.
So the pool table's in front of the
Oh,
stage.
wow.
So, and it's not like that pool table was permanently there. They had it on a jack that you could roll it out of the way when they had dancing and stuff, but not for comedy. And I had asked the owner, hey, why are we doing this? Why do we have a pool table there? I go, you realize somebody's in the middle of their joke and you hear them break.
Yeah.
And there's a, and it's like totally throws you off. He goes, well, I need that revenue. I need the revenue from the pool table.
Well,
And so I would give him a roll of quarters. At
at
the beginning of the show, we're rolling it out of the way. Here's your roll of quarters. Pretend like I played.
Well, here's the thing. Whenever a business has comedy, they're doing bad.
Yeah,
Because yes,
they're desperate.
right. Because comedy is high return, low. What do you call it? Low overhead.
No, yeah, it's
yeah,
low
low
overhead.
overhead. All you need is a mic speaker,
Right,
and the comic's gonna come.
right.
So it's low overhead. They make a lot of money. So if they don't accommodate you, then they really don't want you there.
Right,
Okay, like the place, the Ave,
right.
completely designed not to work. It's more like you just mentioned. but it
It
works
works, yeah.
incredibly.
Because you had to tweak and revamp. No? Because they went out of their way to help you.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you have a
Exactly.
motive,
They make a lot of money on our night. And regulars come in and tell us that. They say, dude, they keeping y'all in here because they making money. Right? So they shut off the TVs.
Oh yeah.
They
Sound system's good. You might
the
not
sound
get a,
system.
you don't get a good visual of the stage
don't,
when you're
but
at the bar, but you can hear
The
your
sound system
system.
is great.
Yeah.
So that kind of, again, going back to the Rouge and Nick's Tacos kind of reminds me of that. So people would be like, where's the stage? Because we were in a little dark corner.
They hated us there.
They hated us.
They hated us. That's why, if you remember, when we started doing the show, we went from 5 minutes to 3
Yeah.
a piece because they hated us there, and we had to keep it up and going like that because they hated us.
They did. For the most part, they really did. And
Yeah.
especially the venue did. They was like, I don't even know why they said yes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wow.
why are you saying yes if you, well, we need to fill a hole. Really? What hole are you filling? San Francisco is all about filling a hole.
And everybody goes, "Oh, the tacos are so good there."
Oh my gosh. Remember, they were like $5 tacos.
Yeah.
And they were,
They were like everything was prefab, like good, even more so than Taco Bell.
yeah, it was almost like almost everything almost had like a
this
guac
sweet-
gun.
Yeah.
Like it's like a cocking gun for your stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so yeah, they were high priced food. They were very critical of every comic it went up.
Very.
Talking about, oh, you can't say that. Really?
Yeah.
We have kids in here.
Yeah, well, why did you
Why-
have us here?
Yeah, why do you have us here? Why do you have
And
why
that-
do you share the space with a bar that you don't even, it's like literally the difference between the bar and the taco place was nothing. It was in the same room. It was
Right.
like if you divided this room in half with a bed sheet and said that's your side of the bedroom.
Exactly.
This is my side of the bedroom.
Exactly. And here's another thing that kind of freaks that I don't quite understand. Everybody, there are still people who want to do clean shows.
Right.
And a bar.
Yeah, why?
That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Why? What and
Because
people
this
don't
world has
know
gotten
any.
way too
Okay,
easy.
and
You
people
have to be
don't
over
know
21
anymore
to
what
see a
clean
clean show.
is. All right, they don't know anymore what clean is. Clean used to be no profanity, no sexual reference.
And no gross out humor, especially if you're in a restaurant. I want
Yeah.
to hear about poopy and
Yeah,
stuff like
me too.
that.
Only things going in, nothing coming out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like never vomit jokes, never
Right.
poop jokes.
I've
Okay.
been,
Right.
I've been doing a lot of corporate parties. So I just did one for Adobe down in San Jose.
Well, good for you that you could do that.
And, I did a clean set. And after the show, they're like, we're adults. You didn't say not one swear word, no sexual reference or anything. I said, well, that's what they paid me for.
Yeah.
He said, well, what if we give you some more money? What would you do? I said, give me some more money.
Exactly.
So I wanted to do an hour and a half show over there. And I did my regular stuff and I got tipped.
There you go. That's
I'm like,
beautiful.
man, that's incredible.
That is beautiful. I have the hardest time doing corporate gigs.
Right. Well, now, like you said, I think a lot of people are overly PC. They've always been PC, right? But now it's like
Oh my
between the Me Too movement, but yet you can still get laid on your phone with a swipe of your thumb.
Right. And I mean, who can keep up with the sexual
Sensibilities.
the sexual descriptions, them, they,
Us,
So last time I looked, when you picked your sexual gender on Facebook, you could either say you deny to say what your gender is, or you had to choose between 64 different things. And I get lost, Tony. You know what? I'm not prude. I have friends.
yes.
But okay, a guy with a girl, a guy with a guy, a girl with a girl. And after about 5 switches, I'm confused. What's the other 60 or 59 other genders? I
have no idea.
Where did it come up with this pansexual, cissexual? I mean,
yeah. Well, so I have to. So that's the thing is you have to be either first or you got to shut the hell up or you might get canceled.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't even like, okay, like I'll be in a show and I get a lot of, for some reason, I get a lot of trans people that like me. Okay. Especially since I got the earring, right?
Oh, that just opened up the door for you.
Oh
Okay.
my God, because it used to be left ear straight, right ear gay.
And
Now
then my son,
it don't
your
matter.
son tells you, no, it's opposite, you're gay.
Yeah, my son was like, Dad, it's a gay tail. You know, like, okay. And I get a lot of people coming on to me now, right? A lot of dudes. Huh?
I just got mine both done. I'm like,
Yeah. See, then they know you're straight, bro. All right, that's how that works. But I get a lot of gay people. So I'm very careful as to how I say what to what. You know, these two white guys came to me after the show once and they go like, "Oh, we thought you played for our team." I said, "Oh, you guys are black." You know?
Oh my goodness. So yeah, and
It's like you were saying earlier. It's like us. A lot of the audience can get offended at jokes, any joke on
It's like-
Argyle socks.
Yeah,
You were saying,
yeah.
or
That
whatever.
a
Anything.
fucking comedy show.
Yeah, and I think if you go to a comedy show, you should just let that go. Just
oh yeah, you need
you know,
to, right?
You know, because how often have you gone to the show, you heard some racist shit, and then you got to explain to the person that was racist. You know that, right? You know what I mean? But you got to just let that go. That ain't you. That ain't your battle, the fight. You know. So and being a woman, how many times you heard somebody say some stupid, uninformed shit about being a woman? Exactly.
I mean, it thinks it's like,
But-
if you're going to talk about my anatomy, get it correct at least, like.
Exactly.
Calling things the right parts and stuff like that. You mean so? But it's also you want to kind of like, for one, when a comedian sets up a joke, you sometimes they're they're trying to initiate some other thought in your head. Everybody's
Right.
trying to write the punchline for that joke, right?
Right.
Because they're watching a comedy show, they go, "Oh, I know where he's going," and the more of a 180-degree turn it is, the better a surprise it is, right?
Exactly.
So sometimes they're baiting you. They're saying, "Oh, well, women are this." I think it was early on when you were talking to me. I consider you my first mentor in comedy. I literally remember times where you would kind of like tell me, "Oh, you don't want to divide the room. Sometimes it's better to be safe," instead of going in and saying, "Hey, people, women are fucked up, aren't they? You know, I have my girlfriend this, my girlfriend, my wife this, that." It's better to go in and just say, "Hey, people, how about relationships? Don't they suck?"
Exactly.
And you keep it inclusive. At one point, you're going to take that turn. You're going to
Right.
veer off that road because
Exactly.
you better go off road. Otherwise, you're just like every other comic, right?
Right.
And so you are going to go off roading, but you got to bring them along for that trip. Come on, come along.
But what you want to do is you want to make them think. You want to like bring up a specific thing about the relationship
Right.
that everybody can get on board with, whether they're male or female.
We were talking about it before the show. We were talking about, is it you that it's always hot and he's always cold, or is it the opposite way?
I'm always warm.
You're always warm. And so me and my relationship, we used to be that way. And I used to be the one that could wear shorts and a t-shirt all year long. And now I can't. I'm always cold and I'm always covered
Yeah.
up. And she's always hot. And so if you start talking about those commonalities that people have, they can go, "Oh my gosh, that's you. That's her. Oh my God, you do the same thing." And so it's relations.
And
It's
some of those
relatable.
things exist in same-sex relationships too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right.
Because it all happens the same way. Like even in different relationships, like everyone knows my wife is Chinese, and I tell her feet are like that Audi commercial when it's coming, that ice is coming first, and then because when she get under the cover, you could feel her coldness from her feet before she even touched me.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
God damn, what? Put on some socks,
That
get
is
some
a
beaded
cold
socks or
feet.
something.
That's
But it's like a cold front. As soon as she put her feet under the cover and started moving closer, I'm like, your feet are fucking cold. Get away from me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, you got to preheat the blanket before you get in it. you know?
It's an ancient Chinese secret, huh?
That's beautiful.
So there's those things that we can all kind of relate on some level,
Exactly.
and so that makes it. I guess it makes us all a little human.
Yes, exactly.
And so that reminds me of your intros, humans.
Yeah,
People.
humans. Yeah, I started saying that. oh man, over 20 years ago now.
I remember hearing in 1999.
Yeah.
Day at the luggage store.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Is that to draw people in?
Well, here's, I thought, okay, you know how, I saw a gay comic years and years ago, and he was like, ladies, gentlemen, other, he was like that. I said, how can I be all inclusive? We'll call everybody heathens,
Right.
Or good people.
Good
Yeah.
people's another one.
My
Yeah.
favorite one is take it light like a woodpecker with a headache.
That's a George.
It took me
That's a
couple
George
years.
Clinton line from one of his songs.
It took me a couple years to figure it out. I said, man, really?
No, I stole that.
Now, you were on network TV once, weren't you? And that's a little bit of a story.
He said,
Does he want to share this one?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So I remember the story.
In fact, it was 2 years ago, January, I finally see the clip. I haven't.
Oh,
looked
really?
at it on my phone.
I was searching for it.
Oh, I finally see the clip. It Roku TV, you can find it.
Okay.
It's Showtime at the Apollo, the first season, the one that's hosted by Ray Parker Jr.
Oh, really? Ghostbusters theme. You had to go ahead. Busted makes me feel good.
Yeah, I used to love that line. Busted make me feel good. All right. So okay, so I was supposed to be just a guest on the show doing comedy.
Right.
Okay. Now, mind you, there's the days where I'm doing the character stuff.
Right.
Right. So I'm just supposed to be a guest. Well, they have this guy named David Peason who's singing, and he's killing. He's destroying the place. And I was doing the regular Wednesday nights at the Apollo with my characters. They thought, oh, homie's gonna get. So he said, well, instead of being a regular guest, you be in the competition part. Okay. All right. Yeah. I just figured if I don't win, I'll just make it through.
Right.
Well, at the last minute, like a day or so before, like a day before, hey, listen, can you not do your characters because you might offend somebody?
That's
You might offend somebody who's Puerto Rican. You might offend somebody who's a redneck, or whatever. Okay, I'll try. So I had to write a whole thing, like out of the blue, like right then and there.
and those were almost 5-minute sets.
No, they're a minute 45.
Minute 45.
Yeah, no matter what you did, they would cut it down to a minute 45. So I actually wrote a minute
Minute
45.
45.
Yeah, because if you see when I stop, I stop not because they're getting ready to boo me. I stop because that was the last joke.
And they were laughing at your material, and you didn't compensate for laughing.
Hey, I did. Check this out. They booed me after I got my biggest laugh on the thing.
Oh, really?
But they did boo me. They did start to boo me. Okay? Because so I'm doing my act, and I'm talking about these giant women that I would be sleeping with. And I guess they thought I was talking about the women at the Apollo there. And they turned on me. You mother. But the Apollo was, I'm going to tell you something. The Apollo was the regular Wednesday nights.
Right.
Not the TV show.
Right.
The regular Wednesday nights are rougher than the TV show.
Oh, sure.
They would just they come ready. They practice booing on the curtain. Oh my God, it was so rough. And then let's say you did a show and maybe got booed off the show.
Right.
If they seen you on the show, they didn't care what you did beyond that. If you went to the regular Wednesday night, they loved you.
Wow.
Yeah. But the regular Wednesday night was rough. Like you have never been. Oh, you asked me what's the roughest room I did. I was doing comedy in this room once, and they said it was gonna be Apollo night, right? So it's it's famed Broadway Studios downtown,
Right.
okay, in North Beach. So I go up, and it was Apollo night, so they booing everybody. It don't matter what you're doing, they booing you straight up. So they introduced me in the first, and no applause. Boo, boo. And I get on stage, I go like, hey, listen, keep booing. Because your mouth is in the perfect position for me to put my dick in, right?
Right.
And then they shut the fuck up.
Well,
And I was able to finish my act. And then I'd have walked off.
you ever seen the remake of Heaven Can Wait with Chris Rock? It's called Down to Earth, and he has to do his set at the Apollo, and they're booing him because they call him Bowie. They call him, oh, here comes Bowie. And everybody in the audience is like, uh-oh, and it's like, they all know it's him, and they're going to call him off, and they get the Sandman in there to get him
Yes.
off. But, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it seemed like to me that the Apollo, when they did the TV show, everybody just went there to boo. It didn't matter if you were good or not. You're going to get booed.
Well, let me tell you something. Being in the actual audience and seeing it, okay, TV has a way of exposing shit. Okay? And I don't want to say too much because NBC might cancel me. Anyway, it was on NBC at the time. Okay, a lot of stuff you would see, they would retool it in their own way. Especially, you remember, what's that show, Last Comic Standing?
Yeah.
Right.
They would retool that whole thing. Like who won, how it went down. They retooled everything.
Well, yeah, because they need to make it,
So
they want more excitement. They want more drama.
reality TV is how they weave the reality. So an NBC is really good about making it work in the fashion they want. Anyway, I'm okay. If you get a deal with NBC, make sure you get an attorney before you sign anything.
Holy shit.
'Cause, yeah, they do not fuck up. I'm gonna tell you something. You wake up one morning and you feel the echo inside because these motherfuckers done stole your soul. You know what I'm saying?
It's like that.
Oh my God, they do not fuck around, Jack. Oh, it's crazy.
Well, and in whenever comedians get that deal, they usually get, oh, you have free license to do whatever. I think when I think of this, I think of Chappelle. So like the last season, they said, hey, we're gonna give you the $50 million. You can do whatever you want. He signs the contract, and then by the way, we have some caveats for you. And he's like, yeah, fuck this.
Okay, that's how they do when you
Get up there
here with money. You
Yeah,
have
when you
money
got money.
already.
Right.
That's how you do you when you have money. When you ain't got no money, they go like, all those caveats, you see them right then and there. Okay, and they own you. They own your likeness. They own your character. They own everything, and it's all spelled out in the contract. All right.
You're basically
So
making
let's
a
say-
deal with the devil.
Let's say you do stand up for diversity.
Okay.
Okay, you're doing stand up for diversity. Okay, they like you. You win or you come close to winning. They give you. There used to be a lot of money in all entertainment. Now you're on your own. They give you all this. They give you 20,000, which if you had a regular day job, 20,000 ain't shit.
Right.
Okay, so they give you 20,000, but they own everything about you. You can't do anything that they don't approve.
Right.
So they completely own you.
And before you know it, there's an
And this
action
for 2
figure, there's
years.
whatever. Yeah.
So cut that down. That's like 10,000 a year. That ain't shit. You know, you make that just being out here doing your thing really hard.
Right.
You know, without merch. You know, so it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a cautionary tale because people are willing to do anything to strike gold.
Yeah, here's the deal. The truth of the matter is, the shelf life of a comic, usually if you're just if you're not anybody particularly special, usually like 5 years. If you hit 5 years, right?
Right.
And you look, the people who have like longevity, they have great attorneys. They have great attorneys because there's people you can mention, and like in any level of show business that were in big and hot, no more.
Right.
Okay, so you got to get a good attorney. You got to make a great deal before to have longevity. You know, a lot of people think, well, I'm going to be the funniest guy and I want to be famous. No, not about being funny. You got to find your niche and you got to sell that. Okay. And you got to really sell it.
I think
Okay.
that I think that a lot of us have done that because I was a salesman for so many years and I was selling so many products that I didn't believe in.
That's beautiful.
And then I finally go, oh, here's a product I know about. I know where its faults are. I know where its pluses are, and I'm going to stick behind it. But you're right. You have
Yeah,
to
you got to.
you have to have this
So-
product. You have to feel good about it, and you
Right.
have to push it.
And there, that's where you can use it nowadays. Digital media, great, because you had to really work hard. Let's say I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm trying to go national. It's tough.
Oh yeah,
And you know, let's say I want to be famous, I have to have at least an hour or more worth of material before I make the move to Los Angeles or New York City to make that big break.
right.
And then I got to have an in to get me in there. You know, a lot of things were based on you creating everything from nothing. And then an agent comes along and go like, oh, well, it's like having an attorney. Like you can go in court for yourself, but you'd be an asshole.
Right.
So you can go in show business for yourself, but you are stupid to go in there without an agent attorney. Okay. So you need that. You're gonna need that person. Okay. And it's gotta be somebody you really trust. Because let's say you got a great social media presence. You actually are funny, because a lot of people with great social media presence
Right.
suck ass. Anyway, and you go in there and you have all the things you need, and they say, look, I got you a deal with Comedy Central, blah blah blah. Okay.
Right.
You better make sure you trust that person, because that person could really fuck you off.
Right. I mean, we've heard a lot of those tales too of people go, well, that was my first manager. I got fucked by him.
Dude, that's why you don't see me with management. Every single one I've ever had.
Really. So,
They took all
so,
my money.
so you're a strong proponent of having a manager, but you don't have one.
I don't have one
because
right now because I don't have anybody I trust.
It's kind of like a lawyer. You better
Yeah.
have the right one.
Yeah, and speaking of, I always had terrible lawyers because they all said, "Oh, you black, you gonna lose." Anyway, you
Predisposition.
in family court. Oh my God, they were like, "Just give me some money for talking to you." You know what I mean? Like that. It was horrible.
So, at what point do you think someone should get a manager? Whenever they need to sign off on some real paperwork. But by the time that happens, it's almost too late. No,
Never.
because you gotta find somebody and you gotta trust them. It's like
Yeah,
a car
you-
mechanic. You can't just open the yellow pages if there was such a thing anymore.
Well, by that time you've been working for a while, so there's going to be people that you're going to kind of be affiliated with in some way.
And hopefully, you've already been pitched by someone that sees your worth.
Right. And by that time you've been pitched a bunch of times.
Right.
You know, everybody always say, "Oh, you only get one shot." Get out of my fucking face. You get lots of shots, and you find out along the way working. If you are really okay, everybody wants to be on the train.
Right.
So if you out there really grinding it out and doing it, oh, they coming to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So yeah, okay, so you said you don't have to. Well, you do have to be funny. You have to have talent. You do have to find your niche, but you also have to work it and you have to grind it as hard as you can. You got to get it from every angle. I think if
And that's for everybody now. It
Right.
used to not be for everybody.
Right.
But everybody has to put it out.
Well, that's why there's that high attrition rate. People with that New Year's resolution go, "Hey, I'm just going to go on stage and become famous." They don't realize, there's all this etiquette, like even open mic etiquette. People used to say, "Is there any shortcuts?" There's not any shortcuts, but I can tell you a couple things that will save you a lot of heartache over the first year.
You remind me of a brainwash story. There was this tall kid. He was tall, young, brash. He thought he could do anything. And he was just rude.
Right.
So, remember Big Al Gonzalez?
Yes, Big Al.
Okay. So Big Al was like, he was talking because the dude was rude, and I was saying, okay. I was like this. I said, dude, that's gonna come back to bite you.
Yep.
And Al said, you want me to get him now? Like that.
Yeah.
I said, no, don't do that. Don't get him.
It will come to it in his own time,
Yeah.
right?
So, and he was like, yeah, he was still like, I'm gonna be all right. Okay. 2 weeks later, he comes back with a fucking black eye. And he said, I'm so sorry for the way I've been acting.
Really?
Oh wow.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Well, at least he had some self-awareness, but it took him a while.
Well,
And a friend.
Well, we told him very loudly and clearly, dude, that ain't what you're doing is wrong.
Right, because you can be funny, you can have your niche, but if you're shit to work with, you're probably never going to make it through the ranks because you have to make it all the way from buck private all the way up to...
Exactly. And I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know. I don't think he's still...
He's doing telephone tech support for Dell.
There's a lot of people like that, like, oh, you need to... Like, this girl was like, oh, you need to heckle people and you need to... yeah. She was like, you need to heckle people. I say, and you're too drunk to be in here. And she goes like, oh, all comedians get real drunk. And I go, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, okay. Anyway, people like that, those are the people that fall off right away.
Yeah, and you just want to stay away from them, make sure they don't take you down with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't bother them because
they're not going to be around long enough
Yeah.
to waste your time or
I'm
energy.
gonna tell you something. There's this one kid. I thought he was all like, yeah, I'm gonna do. He would go on stage and he would be terrible and stuff. And then I thought, oh man, this guy's not gonna last long but he was being sponsored by a bigger name comic. And so I said, I pulled him aside, and I found out that I pulled a comic that he was associated with, and the comic said he didn't give him no instruction on nothing. I said, why would you leave him hanging like that? You know what I mean? So I took this kid and I sat down with him. I was at the show, and I didn't know he was on the show. I said, do this, do that. I just told him some stuff. This motherfucker went on stage and was brilliant. One time he talking to him.
Wow.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll hang around.
Are you still doing, you used to do little impromptu classes?
Yeah, I still do that. I still do that.
Still feel like
You ain't missing nothing, baby.
I know that I've been watching you do comedy for 15 years, and I still got a little bit of Tony Sparks in my intros and a little bit of getting people acclimated.
We all do.
And it's funny because it literally, it's something that even if I wanted to shake it, it's like an accent. It's like a home accent. Once I'm back home, it comes right back.
There you go.
And so as soon as I touch that mic, all of a sudden I could hear your voice inside my head.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Which is great because there's all those other voices, and it's finally good to distinguish it's you.
And that's good because my voices are usually very positive.
Yes, they are.
Them other voices be telling you.
Oh
Go.
yeah. If you listen to everybody else, you'd be in trouble.
And I got to tell you something. Let's say tomorrow I went online. I went on Facebook or Instagram, and I said, man, I'm thinking about quitting. Everybody would come forward and go like, yeah, quit, bro. Stop.
No, they wouldn't.
No, you really think so?
Competition.
Every time, okay, and that's another thing. We aren't competing with one another.
We shouldn't
Everything,
be.
huh?
We shouldn't be, but I think people.
But people think you are
It's an
competing.
individual sport.
Right.
That's what
But
You're competing with yourself.
exactly, because how often have you seen somebody become successful, and then you see somebody else like try to do exactly the same thing or mimic them completely?
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
I think of Richard Pryor when he was trying to do Bill Cosby.
And
Right?
he realized he had to give that up.
Yeah. He realized that was going to be the beginning of the end for him, and he needed to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Bill Cosby?
Okay, so early on, Richard Pryor was doing his best impression of Bill Cosby. He was very clean cut. He was on the
Like Tonight Show with Jack Parr and stuff
yeah,
like that.
Jack Parr,
Show up
Merv
shows.
Griffin. He was on Merv Griffin a lot.
He was probably one of the first black comedians other than Dick Gregory to
Yeah.
get stuff like
And
that.
he was very physical, never mentioned nothing about being black. He was more like, hey, you know who, I'm going to tell you something, who is like crazy funny to me. If you see his stuff, it's going to blow your mind. Dick Van Dyke.
Oh yeah.
He has a DVD called Dick Van Dyke in Rare Form, right? And it's him like 18 skits or something like that. And he's like pantomime. Amazing. Which was how Pryor used to be. Yeah.
Some people really thought that was their way, their foot in the door was they needed to be network clean. I think
Yeah.
about George Carlin when he was with Burns and Carlin.
I got to be honest with you. When I first started as a 16-year-old, I thought you had to be clean for TV and everything like that. And then one day, years and years later, I was like, fuck these motherfuckers. Man. Because like people like Eddie Murphy and all these people getting deals and they weren't necessarily clean.
One
And
person.
they might have been working for Disney. Oh, Buddy Hackett.
Oh my God.
Buddy Hackett was in
Greatest storyteller. Oh my
yeah,
God.
every story is dirty, and he was on
Carson.
the first Disney movie was Herbie the
The
Love Bug.
He was the mechanic guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Herbie Rides Again, Herbie all that.
And he was dirty.
Buddy Hackett would tell the best stories on Carson, and they were always dirty, and you never knew where
Dude,
he
he
was
has
going.
2 specials. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. When I first started, I used to always close with a standardized joke because I knew it would get a big laugh.
Right.
Okay, and but I wouldn't just do it. I would like flavor it up because little standardized jokes are like stories, right? So I would flavor it up as much as I could, so I get laughs along the way before I got to that punchline. Anyway, I would always take them from Buddy Hackett. Okay, and he has 2 specials, 2 Showtime specials that are on YouTube. So funny. So funny. And he was like you remember you mentioned Sweet Gale. He had that like
He had the
Goofy.
rubber face.
Yeah.
He was like
Yeah,
the Jim
Philly
Carrey kind of
voice.
face for.
oh my god, like what is another guy? He moved really fast. Come on, I saw him initially on the show on the Apollo. It's where propeller on this. When he was in 30 Rock, black guy.
Oh, Tracy
Morgan. Tracy Morgan, definitely an affected character, and that crazy voice. I love those that when they do outtakes with him, he just goes on this long
Tangent.
run.
Yeah.
And he'll just make up these things. Like 8 minutes. There's a thing on YouTube, 8 minutes of improv with Tracy Morgan, and it's from this movie that was a parody of 80s movies. Oh my god!
And he just riffs. And he just keep going, rolling, keep the tape rolling.
Yeah. Oh my god, that dude! But that voice, that voice made him stand out. I remember getting a cassette tape of Snaps. Remember Snaps? Remember that show where they would insult people, and they had a cassette of it. They had and he was on there, and he wasn't necessarily the funniest guy, but his voice made him stand out. Just like Eazy-E. The way you sound is super important.
Yeah, I think it's funny, even when you're doing characters, that your voice has to be so different than your original one. I think of a lot of characters that like Jamie Foxx did on In Living Color.
Jamie Foxx is truly amazing.
He can sing, he can act,
He
can
is
do
amazing.
He's the goat, right? So,
Always an inspiration. He
Right.
did it.
his one special Foxhole was down here in Oakland back in the day. Remember the
Foxhole?
Foxhole?
I thought that was in San Diego.
I want to say it's Oakland.
Because he was doing a competition also. 'Cause I got picked to go to the competition.
Oh wow.
And the mom passed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was down in, it was here in Oakland.
Yeah.
Foxhole.
Wow.
Well, we have about 10 minutes left in podcast. I want to make sure that we go around the table, make sure everybody shouts out what they're doing. Tony, you have so many things going on from your hosting, from your classes, everything else. How do we keep up with everything Tony Sparks does?
Well, the best way now, because I'm going to do something new with it very soon, is to see me on Instagram at the Tony Sparks.
The one and the only,
The Tony Sparks. I didn't know it was available. Found I was available. Let's go with it.
All right, cool.
But I'm doing something really new with that soon.
All right. So, and what gigs you got coming up for us?
Everything. Tonight I'm gonna be at Condor Club, the strip
I
club.
love the
performing.
Condor.
Tomorrow I'm at Max in Fairfax. Wednesday I'm at the Ave. Thursday I'm at Copper Spoon in Oakland. Friday I'm gonna be at the Speakeasy in Hunters Point. Saturday I'm at where am I? I'm at May's Oyster House. And then Sunday I'm gonna rest.
Because even that man needs his rest.
I need one day at least.
God and the Godfather needs his rest.
Gotta chill out.
Now, Barbara, you're going to be watching this guy for us, taking care of this guy for us. What do you got
But
going
you
on?
gonna be performing.
Yeah, what do you got going on, darling?
I
No,
guess. You
not
tell
this-
me.
Not this week. I don't
Oh,
think so.
okay.
Well, how do we keep up with everything you do?
Well, comedy is kind of a hit and miss for me,
Okay.
especially now, I mean, because I'm like working a full-time gig and being a nurse and
We
a lot of
appreciate that
my-
frontline worker.
my comedy, some of my comedy relates to the nursing field,
Mhm.
because if you can laugh at COVID after being in the midst of it for 2 years.
Now, are you on socials? Are you on Instagram or anything like that? How do we stalk you,
Well,
Barbara?
if you want to follow me, my Jeep is outside. And,
There you
know,
go.
Yeah.
Follow the taillights and Tony
I'm a
Sparks
shitty
right there.
driver, so
There you go. We'll give you a head start.
She's on Facebook and
Yeah.
Barbara Tarina.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
My focus, I think, the next month though is going to be walking from Portugal to Spain. So that's
Yeah,
where
on
I'm
the
putting
Camino.
put my efforts into. Hopefully, I can make it again one more time, or twice, or.
All right, now Jennifer Garcia, how do we keep up with everything you're doing?
You can follow me on Facebook, Jennifer Louise Garcia. That's Jennifer with one N, or BizBeezy, THIZBZ on Instagram.
On the ground.
There
There you go. And then Pence, what you got going for me? man?
Singleton.
Still building the show in Cloverdale. Hopefully my guy JT that's listening, since you didn't get me your picture, you're not going to be on the flyer, but still make sure you show up. I got a couple corporate gigs going on this week, and you can find me on Instagram at HLS Comics, spelled HLSCOMIX. And anybody that's booking shows, fill me in. I got some open spots.
There we go. Right on. Cool. We are back.
And what about you, baby?
Well, let me see here. I'm actually just burning the midnight oil. What am I doing? I'm trying to get as many shows and people creating original content in Edge Studios as possible. So we have an ongoing deal. I'm waiving all setup fees. We're getting you in here. You can either come in here and run the show like we've been doing all day, or you can have someone produce your show. We do this on a weekly, monthly, and even a one-off kind of basis. So that's what we're doing at Edge Studios. Check everything we do out at edgestudiosonline.com. As far as me as a comedian, well, you can check me out at Mr. Edge of Insanity on Twitter, Instagram, and Paul Brumbaugh on Facebook. So there we go.
Yay!
Yay.
I think I might have given myself a plug here or there.
That's beautiful.
So I find myself at the place where we were last time that we met. Where do we go from here, Tony? You have a lot of stuff on your calendar. How do we stay relevant in an irrelevant world here? Where do you see comedy going in the Bay Area? Is it still you come to the Bay Area to work out, you go to LA to get work? Is that still the same?
Well, I think a lot of that has changed with the way social media works now. You could be anywhere and be famous. All right.
Right.
The one thing, and I really love social media because you can be anywhere and be famous, but the only thing I don't like is that you still have these people that aren't particularly funny, and they get all the work.
Isn't that scary?
Mhm.
How are they doing it? Is it these cliques? Is it these little cliques of people and they won't go outside?
No. Listen. Okay.
Dumb
if I
luck?
post something right now,
Okay.
a lot of people see it. The last years of the brainwash, last 5 years, going out over the internet. It made us more famous than you could possibly imagine.
Right.
Okay, because Japan developed facial recognition software from the shit they were seeing on that. We also like people would write articles about starting rooms, and they would mention the brainwash, and this might have been in Arizona.
Right.
Okay, so here we go. You've got a tool now that can send you out all over, and then you're getting feedback and getting people loving you from everywhere. So no matter where you are, like let's say I'm doing a show here, everybody who's seen me in the city, said, oh, he's gonna be there. Boom, they come.
Right.
Okay, so it solved a lot of wonderful problems. The only problem that I see, gotta make these people laugh.
Oh yeah. You know, you
That's
get
it.
their butt in the seat, you better make them laugh.
And making them laugh comes with experience, comes with you being out there actually on the front line doing this stuff, perfecting and honing your voice.
Do you think people need to go out to, well, comedians like myself? I've been here since a person like myself. Do you think I need to be in more open mic rooms, or should I just go to showcases and stuff like that? Because I can get on everywhere else, but here. It was like,
Oh yeah, but that's the way it is.
because it was like when I lived in Milwaukee.
That's the
they
way it
told me
is.
The only way I can get stage time, I had to get. They told me I had to get stage time. They didn't tell me how.
And
So
you
that's
had to
when I
go
became a
somewhere
stripper.
else.
That's when I became a stripper. So I thought that was the stage time. So I went to the comedy club downtown Milwaukee. I said, I got stage time. They said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a stripper. They're like, you got jokes about being a stripper? I'm like, no. I said, you guys told me I needed stage time. You didn't tell me what kind of stage
Yeah,
time. So
that's fun.
that's what I went and did. And now I come out to California, and when I first started, I was getting all over the place. I go down to LA, I get on all over the place. But now it's like the guys that I know that are running shows, I ask them, hey, man, can I get on the show? It's like they don't even know me. I mean, even I hate to say his name, but I thought he was a good friend of mine. Mean Dave. I used to take Mean Dave back and forth to Vinny's. No problem. Didn't ask him anything. I asked him about a show once. I didn't even ask to be on the show. He said, oh, I'm not booking it. I'm like, I'm not asking to be on the show. I just asked about the show.
Yeah, well, at some point, you have to just go outside of your circle and get work.
Yeah, it's weird because, like I was saying, that's one of my issues is that I keep looking for. There's 400 comedians in the Bay Area, but I only seem to have about 30 in my end of the pool. It's like I keep trying to bring people. It's part of it is that where I'm located is in the middle of the Bay Area, and you're not close to San Francisco or San Jose. So if you're trying to get South Bay or North Bay comics, it's hard, or even East Bay comics. They don't want to come across the bridge. And it's a Wednesday night, and they're only doing like 15 minutes, and you only get so much money. And so things aren't getting better now that we're out of the pandemic, which I'm glad. I think people are more starving for entertainment. They're happier to be receiving it.
Yes.
And they're definitely more appreciative.
That's beautiful. I love that.
But it is funny. It's hard to get, a comedian to come to a paid show, like the room I'm building in Cloverdale. They pay pretty good. I ask people, I've been beating myself up asking people to come to the show, come to the show, come to the show. They do their own advertising. I just need to bring the comedians. But, you get comedians that are driving to Santa Cruz, an hour and a half away from Oakland, for free. And I'm offering them money, food,
and a crowd.
And a crowd. A crowd that you don't have to bring.
Maybe they don't know where it's at.
Most of these cats go up to Sweet Tomatoes. Up in Rohnert Park.
Rohnert
I mean,
Park.
this is only 10 minutes from Rohnert Park.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
be there.
I don't know if I can make it. I'm paying $100.
I'll be there.
I got hit by a pterodactyl. I don't know.
Wow, you're going to have the phone lines ringing off the hook.
Let 'em come.
Yeah, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Give me
I
your
didn't even
card.
know that existed, bro.
There you go.
Give
Right
me
there.
a card, I'll send you a demo.
There you go.
You don't need to send me a demo. You know him.
There
That's
you go.
all- that's
That's
the
your
only
in
thing.
card.
I ruin his reputation
And if you
all
get
the time.
if you get 30 minutes, hey, come on.
All right, guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning into this podcast, The Edge of Insanity. For myself, my guests, give it up for Tony Sparks, everybody, and Barbara, Jen Garcia, and Ed Singleton, everybody. There you go. And I am out of here. For myself, the rest of the Edge crew, I am out of here, guys. Keep standing up. We'll see you next time here on The Edge of Insanity. I almost forgot who I was. There we go. Good night, guys.
That was beautiful.